Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Monkey Bobble Open Division playoffs for this day. We are going into our second game, and we are going into one hell of a clutch match. We're going into AlterEgo versus No Commitments. I mean, that is just fantastic. We get the full Freudian spectrum in one single game. With me, of course, is the psychoanalysis of your dreams, got Moxie. And Moxie, we have just had one cool game, and we are looking forward to yet another one where two teams are actually fighting for their survival in the lower brackets. And let's get some hype in here. What can you tell us about these teams?
Well, looking down the team sheets, we can have a little look about what these teams like to perhaps play. We're going to see that the tank lineup for Alter Ego shaping up to be something that, that atypical Reinhardt diva going to be the round there. But they also do have a little bit of the Sigma, Zarya, Orisa, and I'm sure you've caught this one, Ollie, Wrecking Ball. Skylar is
Yes.
boasting that that is their third best hero. I'm sure you'll be hoping for a little bit of a ball rollout today.
Oh, yes, I do love it when the balls start clashing. It's just one of the greatest feelings in all of Overwatch. And, that is something that I am terribly, terribly looking forward to. So, Alter Ego, all in all, we have a lot of interesting setups, like you said, Skytor and Ayanador. Their tank combination, rather young people here and there, but then again, I am an old person, so what the hell would I know? All of them well, very young, really. I just
You
noticed
say
that.
young, but I was born in the same year as one of these players.
I was born 10 years before their oldest player. It's just something that just blows my mind. Anyway, we have Alex and Legends on the DPS and Makarov on Krypton on the healer setup. We have this is a full French team on Alter Ego side. I've seen them play before. They're pretty decent. They're pretty well set up, and not having a language barrier will certainly help them out, even though they have one Belgian, and you can't trust the Belgians, of course. On the other side, no commitments. As a bit of a rundown as well, we see Korn and JPK running up there, even though no, sorry, Korn and Sensitix on their tank line. As a DPS, we see JPK and Eli and Katakomi and Hampy on the support. And watch Katakomi specifically. We've seen them in the Euro Cup, and they are crazy. Huh?
No
So
pressure at all.
right, we're jumping straight into the first little bit, and that is Ilios in the Temple Ruins. Talk us through this. What are we going to see here, Moxie?
So this is one where you can see a little bit of the days of old compositions coming out. You can see Widowmakers grappling from spawn. You can see Pharmacies flying up, boosting from the ground. You can even see the Orisa coming out. If you can manage to secure that point in the first team fight, then you can just bunker up in a corner, declare that territory as your own, and force the team to come into, well, what is going to be a hard-fought victory if they want to try and take it from your hands.
And we see Alter Ego with a setup that is, completely mirrored the one of No Commitments at this point. No surprises there, so no Widowmakers in there, unfortunately. Even though we could have expected that, like you just so aptly said. And we're off into the game right now. And immediately the clash is starting to happen on the right side of the point here. Fire strikes flying all the way. Korn trying to find a target, but Alex is the first one to get Hampy out of their point and back into spawn. Now moving in there, Korn trying to see whether or not the water is warm enough for him to jump onto point, but there's a cold wall that stops them from actually doing that. And Skytor is able to just hammer them into that wall, and that is something that's absolutely nailed down. So the Frenchies up there, Alter Ego with the first point cap and 10% on the clock.
And it looks like they'll be continuing that cap going up. Krypton is going to be building up that nano. Skytor is going to be feeling pretty free, pretty alive to hammer away, because Hampe is not going to be able to win so he wants to counter that.
That's right. I spoke to the manager of No Commitment earlier. That name is not a random name, by the way. They apparently just scrim once every 2 weeks, and they just have a bunch of talented players. So let's hope that will be enough against this very coordinated French team. Alex with a double kill, JPK and Eli falling down. No Commitment back onto their spawn point, and a very aggressive point defense on AlterEgo's side.
Right, Sensitix is actually going to have to swap to the Sigma just to get that Diva mech once more, so all of that ult charge cancelled out. They do still have this Blizzard though, and Makarov does not have the Sound Barrier. If No Commitments are able to push this advantage as fast as they possibly can, they might be able to get that point flip going finally.
They should be able to get that done. There's a shatter coming out of Sky. Tor doesn't find a lot of targets, but JPK goes down to the following fire strike. Nice counter jump here, and Korn goes down as both of the Reinhardts butt head.
Yeah, No Commitments. They don't commit to the Blizzard. They don't initiate with it. They hold off on it, and that has meant that Makarov has had the time necessary to build up to the Sound Barrier. Indeed, AlterEgo have 5 ultimates currently up on the board.
Yes, and now the ult storm is real. The Blizzard already coming out of AlterEgo, and Ayanador and Skytor are finding their respective targets. That means the Blizzard on Eli, who are still holding on to that, is still up on the table. Now for a quick movement. Only 6% left on the clock at this point, as these teams need to be able to touch this. Katsukomi going in all the way on the touristic route here on the side, has to fire the sound barrier to just keep themselves alive. The High Noon going in. JPK finds Alex on that side. The overtime wick is running. 2 versus 3 on the point, and now it's a stack May wall. Great shatter on that side, and it is Korn who finds the higher ground on that. JPK and Eli following it up. The overtime wick is real. Ainador is the only one holding that wick still in place, and this is a swap at 99%. No commitment, finally committing, and this is something they need to keep up.
Yeah, but they didn't put the Blizzard in! That could have immediately won them that fight, but no, it's a gamble. It pays off for this team, thankfully. They have it to initiate this next fight with. They can wait for Ayanador to try to pop that self-destruct. Try to make sure.
Skytor tries to charge out of that Korn, makes sure that that is not happening. Hampi with a double kill, Eli finding it up. So it's a 3-2 division between Eli and Hampi, and an aggressive Ana is always something to savor. Greatly done. We see Sensitix very close to the ultimate. Ainador already has the Diva Bomb, so this could be a breakout on the side of AlterEgos right now. Let's see what.
Yeah, well, AlterEgo just need to build ultimates up. It's 99% on the board for them. They need to win one more team fight. They're going to just try to build their way towards it.
Coming out there. It's very high. Doesn't find a lot of targets. But Alex and Skytor use the confusion in order to make some room there. Sensitix gets Skytor out. Korn following it up. And AlterEgo now has a lot more bodies on the point. There's a counter Diva Bomb. Doesn't find a lot of targets because of a lot of cover for the AlterEgo. Still jumping in there. Now, Katsukomi needs to find a way to either stop the cap or extend the overtime wig, but Alex is there with the High Noon. They will not be able to jump into Eli, extending the overtime by using and giving up their life. Hampi already going down as well. Ainador with the double kill finds Korn. The overtime wig still being held on by Katsukomi, who is now in that little side room, gets fire strict. The first round is over, and AlterEgo take it to the first.
So it seems, from the way that we're seeing both of these teams play, that AlterEgo really benefits from both being the defensive and aggressive side. No Commitments, on the other hand, they seem to be able to take the aggression, but not really the defense.
That's right.
They fall apart in small corners of both, but I would say that their main failing at this point is not initiating with ultimates. They had that Blizzard for 2 team fight, 2 team fights, 3 team fights, and then they only used it when they knew that they had to win at every single team fight until the end of the round. And Blizzard runs out, you're not going to be able to build up a Blizzard within another team fight, which meant that they just did not have ultimates to cycle through. AlterEgo's ultimate economy was just that much better, and they were able to just build up and take them out.
They did have it for multiple team fights, like you said earlier. And the question is whether or not they were waiting for a specific combo that they wanted to try out there, or whether or not they thought they could win it without. Because that gamble didn't pay off 2 out of 3 times, and that is not a very good track record. Now, AlterEgo already on the point from all sides, incoming there on no commitment. And we see Katakomi and Korn trying to poke their way in there. Sensortix now going on to point, trying to boop something out there. Doesn't find a target. Korn going down. Katakomi immediately following, and it is Eli who needs to kill SkyTor. He does so. JPK following it up. AlterEgo with the cap, 10% on the clock.
The composition that no commitments are running is a very dangerous, risky one. They have to build up to heavy-hitting ultimates that EMP. Otherwise, they just do not have the damage on the side. There is no burst way to break down AlterEgo to get the kills starting to go their way without putting in the power plays of Qs. So AlterEgo, until no commitments are able to build those up, they're just going to have advantages in the teamfight of bullets and bullets alone.
On bullets and bullets alone, and a lot of those. Now, though, there is Alex with the nano boost, looking for an angle to actually use that. JPK finds Crypt on Eli, finding it up on SkyTor, and now it could be no commitment with the upper hand. Einador going down the cap. It should be going over as Makarov finally bites that bullet. No commitment, taking it this time a lot sooner than the last time. 48% on the clock for AlterEgo, and now it's time for no commitment to charge theirs.
Now it's time for Alex to swap onto the Reaper to try to contest Korn, but it's also time for Makarov to go to the delicate dance that the Lucio and Sombra share when there's an EMP and sound barrier up on the board. The Lucio cannot hit the barrier until the EMP comes out, otherwise it can just be ripped apart.
Oh, that looked like a potentially hard boop on Korn's side. He doesn't find the targets he was hoping for at this point, but still jumps onto Pine, extends it. Now the EMP is coming out there. Makarov is absolutely hacked and cannot fire it out. Katakomi with a double kill, gets Leggett and Makarov out there. So still, no sound barrier, great team kill, and this should be the equalizer, at least in terms of percentage. Great fight.
Yeah, but now no commitments have to weather the storm without the EMP, and this next fight is really going to be the decider on whether or not they get to keep the point. AlterEgo are going to be coming in so many things that can just drag it out from no commitments' hands.
And they are getting dragged in there. Korn now in the blizzard. Even though they had that nano boost, they can't use the damage right there. Katakomi finds Krypton though. Diva Bomb coming out on the side of Einador. And there's the sound barrier. Sound barrier now going up. There's the counter bomb. Nicely walled off here by Legend. And that was something that you need to have a steady hand for. Very well done. Sensonics and JPK finding their stride. JPK especially with the double kill going in there. They are holding on to this. And that means that the body advantage is definite and absolutely clear this time yet again for no commitment. And after just going up to 70%, they're swapping it over yet again.
Yeah, but Krypton was swapped to the Moira and will now have Coalescence up. It's currently the only ultimate up on the board. Korn will hit that primal before this next fight happens, but Coalescence can have just a little bit more of an impact. It can really allow a team to go aggressively. They are going to have to play around Eli, who has that EMP ready just now. Won them to teamfight before, needs to win them the teamfight once again.
It does. Now Sensortix trying to get as much of that Reinhardt barrier as they possibly can in order to make that at least a non-committal issue. Great EMP! And now they're just jumping in there. JPK and Hampy finding their targets. Alex trying it with a ultimate, but Korn is in their face, getting it out there. So that Death Blossom did not look as well as it could have. All on the back of Eli's great EMP. It's 1-1, and this is heating up here.
So it's really interesting the swaps that come through for AlterEgo, because they're not Sombra counters, they're Winston counters. You've got the Reaper who comes in to make sure that the dive can't be as aggressive as it was getting. You've got the Ana who switches to the Moira to try to get to the point faster with the team, but nothing really comes out that can make Eli stop just jumping in, farming EMP off Aeonador, and then jumping back out. There's no Brigitte with the shield bash. There is no sort of pressure at all for the Sombra, and you see both fights that no commitments just absolutely win out off the backs of two massive EMPs.
Yes, and they seem to be very comfortable on that, on that rushing combination on these jumpy and fast characters. The dive is absolutely real with no commitment, and they do commit to that one. Now, Einador, already hacked in the sidelines, is able to get themselves out of trouble there as Legend and Makarov eat the first little bit of damage. Very, very far forward defense here on the side of no commitments. We see those fast characters coming into their full rides while the rest of Alter Ego have to wait for that Reinhardt in effect to get on to that point. Now they do though, and now we'll see whether or not that will actually help them. Sensitix gets Einador out of the mech already. Great May wall from Legend, getting Alter Ego some room to breathe, but it doesn't help you when Korn can just stand on top of that and make sure that a lot of electricity is just coming out of that socket. Now Korn jumping onto Skytor gets him down, and that means Alter Ego gets pushed back further and further. Macador doesn't want to move back, moves forward, finds Eli, and Eli finds a nice kill that goes up towards his next EMP.
I love how Eli is playing now that there's a Brigitte on the side of Alter Ego. Just sticks with the team, doesn't care about getting the 1v1 and farming ultimate up the sneaky Sombra way. It's just gonna put bullets in from the safety of the front line.
That could actually be one of the factors right there that you need to get the safety of the front line guaranteed in order to keep Brigitte alive, because Makarov seems to have a hard time of that. Already very low. Legend going down. JPK had them stuck, and Krypton almost following as well. Alex has to pull back now on that Reaper because they need to be able to deal with that Diva and, of course, the big Winston Korn. It's 58% on the clock right now, and it doesn't look like they're stopping anytime soon.
Not with Eli having this EMP in the pocket. The rally gets pot for Alter Ego, but Krypton has to keep a hold of the Coalescence, cannot come out with it early, otherwise it will just be shut down immediately by the hack.
That is at least the plan. Let's see what's going to happen. Eli has that EMP, is looking for an opening here on the right sideline. They are going, and that is a 4-person hack right there. Katakomi finds Alex, boops them inside the well, and that gives you immediately a new opener as your biggest threat is out of the game. Now Legend going away. No DPS on the board here for Alter Ego, and no commitment look positively well. There's a shatter coming out of Skytor, misses most of the enemy targets right there. Katakomi finally goes down to Einador in the mini diva as JPK finds a sightline on Krypton on Skytor, takes them both down. The overtime wig running low. There is Alex with a double kill. Korn and JPK down, and this could turn it around as Einador already is able to jump back in there. Sensitix finally is able to get Alex off the board. The overtime wig still running. There's a diva mob flying in there. Doesn't find a target at this point, but the wig is alive. 2 versus 2 still on the board. Now 2 versus 4. Alter Ego are back onto the point, and Katakomi is being an absolute nuisance before going down to Legend after taking Krypton off the board. So one less support. Korn trying it now on the hamster ball. Skytor is swapped to a Winston, but goes down to Sensitix. JPK was able to get Makarov on the sideline. Sensitix with a double kill, and they're clearing it out. Now, the overtime wig, as I said, still running. Body advantage on the side of no commitment. They don't commit, and that's it. They take it out. No commitment wins the first map.
So Alter Ego, Legend had the Blizzard when they came back for the point contest, but just sticks to the side, lobbing in a couple of icicles here and there, doesn't put the ultimate in until the rest of the team is there to back him up for cleanup. You can see where they're coming from. They don't want to put the Blizzard in, have everyone frozen, only to be able to do absolutely nothing about it. But at the same time, I'm a little bit left scratching my head and thinking, why would you not just throw the Blizzard in? It will spook no commitments away into leaving the point. You can get the flip going through. You can get that regroup going. By the time the Blizzard's already run out, the rest of your team will be there, and you can try and actually go for that loggerhead of a fight versus your enemy. But it doesn't happen. And once again, Maze just hold on to Blizzard. It really does feel like the days when Zarya's would just hold on to grabs, not because they thought, well, maybe we can catch 1 or 2 people, but until they could get that full 6-person team player achievement going.
Yes.
And it really does kind of put just a little bit of a hole in Alter Ego's plan.
It definitely does, and it absolutely did. I mean, beautifully set up there. At the end, they take it back there after that first round looked dire for no commitment. I gotta say, no commitment. By the way, is too great for gamers outreach. So, ladies and gentlemen, you find a donation button below your screen where you can donate to Gamers Outreach. That is a group of people who are, bringing games to sick people, people who are in hospital for a long time, people who, really need some diversion from the misery in their life. And we wholeheartedly support them. And we would like you to support them too. So please press the donation button because these people definitely and absolutely need every dollar that they can get. On a side note, at $250 total, I'm doing a Reinhardt impression. I believe we're up to 50 right now. I'm going to ask production to put a total up there if they are able to do so. And we are going into the next game in just a minute, which is Scrims Row. Yay! Moxie, do you think we were going to see a lot more of this dive setup from either of these teams here?
I don't think we're going to see dive, but I think we might see the DPS sticking around just a little bit longer. We really have seen no commitments find so much value from the Sombra and AlterEgo, even with the swaps onto the Brigitte and the Moira, trying to make sure that that primary hack just gets cancelled out by taking immediate damage. Sombra's still been finding value. EMPs has still been opening things up for no commitments. AlterEgo really do have to crack down on the DPS if they want to actually get that chance to be able to swing the team fights in their favor. Otherwise, they're just at risk of walking into an EMP every single time.
They are in the risk of walking into a single EMP if we see another Sombra. I have to say that Sombra in that last fight. And I don't know whether or not that is only, they are only able to execute it that well in those brawly kind of situations or in situations where they can proper set this up. But if they play it yet again, we will most surely and most certainly see. Now, these teams rolling in on the defensive side, we already see no commitment, not electing to go with that Sombra, not electing to go with the dive. Defensive side has the Reinhardt and Diva combination, which is something we see a lot lately. Can you explain to me why that is?
So it's just so strong, so powerful. Reinhardt at the moment is the best shield tank, having the most HP, and Diva defense matrix. I think I say it so many times, but I say it again now. Defense matrix is the strongest ability in the game. Arguably, that is not an ultimate at this point in time. It can just deny so many things: anti-nades, blizzards, grabs, whatever you name it. If it's a projectile, Diva can eat it. So no commitments. They are going to be running that lineup with Eli sitting on the Mei. Going to be trying to find some value in that choke wall and separate AlterEgo. A team divided is a team that is conquered.
A team divided is a team that is conquered, and right now Einador is finding that at the heart where Skytor also already very low as we see no commitments moving forward slowly around that statue and try to get some pot shots in. When we look at the ultimate setup right now, we see that Sensatix is already at 25% towards that bomb, and that could prove dangerous, especially here on that first point.
Yeah, but what's going to prove more dangerous is these Annas. Krypton getting close to that Nano can really open things up for Skytor.
Skytor is looking for a target right now, especially since Korn is down and they can move forward. They really want that car out of the garage. They want to get going, and they are moving in a full stack all the way to the side just to get Hampy in that nice little corridor before Skytor moves back to main. Eli is setting up a wall, holding off on that fire strike that Skytor is firing out, and they are really farming it up to get that shatter before Korn count, because then the chess game of the Reinhardt really begins.
Yeah, well, what's gonna begin in this next fight, though, is Krypton gonna open things up. Gonna try to put that Nano on. They have to get past the choke. No commitments do want to try and hold at it, but they might have to turn tail and run. The Blizzard is there, but so is Einador. That mech still with that potential to just deny it entirely.
And these young French players are moving forward in a very coordinated manner here. You see Makarov just jumping over that Reinhardt shield, trying to get some pot shots in, and now it's time though. The Blizzard is coming out after the nano boost coming out of Skytor, who is in trouble now. Finally getting down to Alex, going in there with the high noon, finds JPK. So this fight is still fully open. Now both sides are just firing their ultimates in and out. Senzo takes with the double on the bomb. Over over the May wall. That is something that will get your reinforcements in trouble. Beautiful defense here on the side of no commitments, and AlterEgo needs to step it up right now.
Well, they're gonna be stepping it up in this next fight, Ollie. Legend is approaching this Blizzard. You do see Anadil coming up to this bomb as well. We haven't really got to see the Bomb Blizzard combo, or indeed the Shatter Bomb combo today, but it is an option that is still very much on the table, especially since no commitments have moved away from the choke.
High Noon coming out, doesn't find a target, basically uses it to reload. JPK using it old school. Diva Bomb coming in, very nice wall coming out of Eli, holding it off there. The Blizzard following it straight up, and they're trying to make some room now though. The shatter from Skytor, that could be huge potentially as Korn goes down. Now it is up to to no commitments to refit themselves, to recommit themselves, and to make sure that that payload doesn't move. And Eli is using their life and their body to make sure that they can hold it off as long and as far as they can. So there's another chance for another fight. Will they go into the chicane? Will they wait to near the cap point too? It does look like they're staying back for a bit.
Well, the win condition is absolutely Eli sitting on this Blizzard. Has been so impactful with those Sombra EMPs. Needs to be as impactful with this Blizzard. Has to come up absolutely clutch for no commitments. It is the one thing that can just guarantee an absolute fight win.
It could guarantee an absolute fight win if they can actually execute it properly. Korn looking for some targets right there. Needs to be sure that they are in a good way. JPK on the back of that Blizzard finds Makarov with a High Noon at this point, and Skytor moving in there to swing that big hammer. But there is a select disadvantage for AlterEgo at this point because no commitment have more people on the board, and they still keep that advantage alive as Alex and Skytor go down. His sensor ticks gets Enador out of the mech, and a Diva versus Diva fight is always something great to behold, especially nowadays with that mobility, isn't it right?
Well, those 3-second boosters really do make Diva just that walking, talking, chunky HP tracer at this moment. So hard to pin down, and that's why we're seeing her just zip all over. That's why she's the must pick at the moment. You can just go everywhere, anywhere, peel for supports, support the front line, ensure the Reinhardt stays alive just a little bit longer. Manage to get out some fire strikes, but also apparently cause a pause in the game.
There is a pause in the game right now. We are not entirely sure what is happening right now. So let's analyze that, very, very aggressive setup. Even though they are mirroring that we can see right now from AlterEgo.
So no commitments are going to have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to ultimates. They have the numbers behind them, but AlterEgo, they're just going to be waiting around the corner trying to posture.
There's a nano boost on Korn, and they move forward. Now the sound barrier coming out, trying to save it out, and Einador is able to help out and finally get Korn down. He was able to just move in there on the back of that pause and make something happen at least for a second. Now AlterEgo pushing it in there hard with the Diva Bomb coming in, going low, finds Katakomi, and that means that the payload is ready to move at least for a second. Eli still holding it up there. Now Korn and Hampy needs to go and help out. Diva Bomb being held up there by the May wall, and that looked dangerous for a second. But another Blizzard is coming out there. Korn and Hampy both down, and this should actually mean a cap since they can get Eli down. No, Sensitics coming in from the sideline, still holding off on that, and that means a lot of time is being wasted before that second point is ticked. Now it is that far, 2 minutes 30 before that last dang goes down from the Big Ben.
Yeah, but this is where it really gets hard for attackers on King's Row. C just flips immediately into the favor of the defending side, especially when they've got a Blizzard Deadeye set up beautifully. So now they just have to get in. They have to pressure a little bit onto Anador to try to get that Diva Mech defense matrix immediately out there, and Blizzard just immediately afterwards.
High Noon already coming out there. It's getting blocked for a second. Korn and Katakomi are in trouble. Korn already down. Katakomi very close to that. Finally goes down to Alex, who finds both of them. There's a Blizzard on Eli's side, though, halting that approach at least for a couple of seconds as they are able to get Skytor out. No main tank on the side of AlterEgo, but The push is still alive. Legend with a double kill on Centerfix and JPK. Great shatter there, but it gets immediately mitigated by a May wall in the last second. So no follow-up possible for no commitments. Now the Diva Bomb coming out from AlterEgo doesn't find a lot of targets. Actually, none of that, but it at least forces Korn into a position that he does not want to be in. He was absolutely body blocked there for a second. Now counters the shatter from Skytor, and they are able to move in there on the back of that. The Diva Bomb trying to hold it off for a second. Sensitix still on the point. High Noon coming out of Alex, and they are looking for targets. This should actually close the door, because it does close the door in Katakomi, and it does close the door on that cap. Round one complete. AlterEgo looking strong. Let's see if they can keep it up on the defense.
Oh, this is where things really do start to get interesting, because we get to see how teams like to play. Yes, Control is a nice opener, a sort of a seat warmer, if you will, but Escort and Hybrid is when it really starts to get down to the nitty and the gritty, and we get to see how teams, whether they want to go aggressive, whether they want to try and just drain the life out of their enemy at chokes, whether they'll just give up map advantage and fall a little bit further back, and a little bit further then back, and then a little further back, and then all the way until the back's against the wall and the payload's rolled on through. So it's going to be very interesting to see what teams are like when the tables are turned. Chokes were definitely used, could have been used perhaps a little bit better, but still we're not given up entirely.
So do you think that they should have looked for the fight in the earlier segments of maybe point two more aggressively on the side of no commitment, or was that that slowly moving backwards something that they did well enough? Could they have taken more time off the board for them? Because 59 seconds is a decent defendable time if we go into a round two here.
So I think they played the second choke near perfectly, just giving a little bit of space and then immediately just rolling straight back into the choke so you're still in possession of it. Where it came a little bit apart was that first choke. There is now this play where teams like to just allow them to go through the gate first, and then take a little bit of a fight, push them back, and wall their escape off. Sometimes you see teams like to go for that immediate wall as the main tank walks through. I'm seeing it less and less, and it really is quite devastating because it can just end a team fight before it even begins.
And we already see that both of the teams are electing to go with the full meta setup. Yet again, the Reinhardt and the May are being set up, so no direct dive. There's a nice little charge coming out there, but both of the May walls are positioned absolutely to perfection. Makarov goes down, though, so one support down for AlterEgo, and that means no commitment, no moving in. Moving past that May wall on Legend's side, who is trying to keep AlterEgo safe as far as possible. But look at Alex's position. Alex is in the hotel and stood there for the most time all alone. Now they're going back around, finding Katakomi, but Katakomi finds Alex as well, and it looks very, very dire for him. He is still alive for a second, though, as JPK goes down, and then finally Alex is down. So both McCree's off the table, but remember, there's a distinct respawn advantage on the side of no commitment, as they are so close to point A. Korn charging in there and now has a nano boost. Needs to make sure that they can use that to get that last third on the take there. Nice shatter, though, on Skytor's side, only being mitigated by Katakomi on the sound barrier. Two ultimates used on either side, but Katakomi's sound barrier coming off this early could be a problem for the second point push. Actually, AlterEgo were able to stabilize that, and now it's time for another push onto point one on the side of no commitment.
Well, now it's time for a Blizzard to come out from no commitments and no sound barrier to be available for AlterEgo. This could be absolutely devastating for the defending side.
It could be. Now the High Noon coming out. The May wall is blocking most of that, but they're repositioning, getting up on top on their May wall. Doesn't find a direct target, but we've seen that trick before, and I can imagine no commitment have seen that trick before as well. It didn't really work out at this time. Good fire strike, great anti-nade. The shatter is getting stopped there, so Korn maybe should have been a bit more patient at this point, but a lot of ultimates flying up and down. Einador has the bomb. Sensitic very close to that. JPK is able to kill Skytor and fire a High Noon into Einador. Both tanks now down for the side of AlterEgo, and JPK is not down funding targets yet as they take Makarov. Eli on the side finds Alex, and this should actually be the end of it. The payload is free, the gates are open, and we dance with the devil.
But it took so long. It really did. No Commitments could have immediately won that fight if they'd initiated with the Blizzard. As it is, Ellie actually waits just a little bit too long. Makarov gets the sign bar online, but they don't even need to put it in to negate the Blizzard. Anador got the eat on. So you were just able to use that one to try to keep your HP up and alive. It doesn't work out for AlterEgo, and so they will give up the opportunity to try to defend at the choke, something I'm sure No Commitments are breathing a huge sigh of relief to. Gonna be having that nano online. Gonna be going straight onto
Another
Korn.
Diva wall. The May walls are being set up, but Diva's jumping over it. Korn once again with a shatter that gets stopped. He is just too impatient at this point, just not looking for an opening, but hoping that they can make one. But in the end, it is actually working out for them, because after that shatter is just a huge amount of damage coming out of Hampy and JPK, and that means AlterEgo are moving forward. No Commitment are moving forward, and AlterEgo are thinking of alternative sidelines.
Yeah, but if you're Katie Kobe now, you cannot be caught out by the fridge freeze. Legend has the Blizzard, and Alex has that immediate follow-up, the option of the Deadeye to just put in. They're not even going to use it for follow-up. They're going to use it to try and initiate, to spook out the soundbar, but it doesn't work.
It does not. Katsukomi holding on to it. Now coming in there with it. And the Blizzard, though, is real. Korn is in trouble. Already goes down after being focused very well. And now there is a Sky Tour with a Nano Boost moving all the way forward. The Nano Boost now worked out, but that still doesn't mean that AlterEgo is done with the hunt. They're going in hard, they're going in deep, and they're going in fast.
But they need to pull back. They need to respect the fact that there is one ultimate currently up on the board, and it is for the opposing faction. In fact, it's the Blizzard, and this can just immediately cut your team fight completely short. They don't have a sign bearer. Inador has already gotten one eat onto it. Needs to come in absolutely huge for the team. This is the only way they're going to be surviving.
It's the only way that they can actually get something done. That is right. JPK, though, trying to get something done, gets healed, but that means Eli and Korn on the back of that shatter go down. Very well done here by Skytor. Makarov is able to get Hampy on the sidelines, and that means back to the drawing board yet again, and that payload is moving backwards, slowly but surely.
And again, we see No Commitments as namesake just hampering them. They had the Blizzard. They've waited so long to use it. They don't initiate with it. They allow themselves to get collapsed in upon by AlterEgo. And now Makarov has built up the soundbar. You're not putting so much pressure onto Anador. If the Diva gets popped out of the mech early, you're not sweating. You've got a sustainable ultimate to see yourself through.
You should have a sustainable ultimate to see yourself through, and Alex is holding on to his for a second here, rather than just trying to zone this out. Now we see No Commitment moving in from the other side. The Diva Bomb coming in there from the flank. Doesn't find a lot of targets, but Eli and Korn are still able to capitalize on the back of that. And now that means Eli is able to make some room for the rest of their team, and they're using it. No Commitment still moving up forward.
Well, do you know what that's still not using, Ollie? Blizzard. They've had it, and they've still got it, and they have not needed to put it in. And yeah, it means that they'll have it for the next fight. But Makarov still hasn't put that sign barrier. It's a little bit of a stalemate between those two at the moment.
We'll see what's going to happen next. Now the second point is being capped, and No Commitment moving up slowly as AlterEgo are trying to hold it up there near the wall. That May wall, though, is once again getting Skytor in a bit of trouble. Good shatter this time from Korn, and the sound barrier saves the day right there, because the follow-up right now doesn't do as much damage as it could have at this point. Very well done. That payload moving around that first corner, and that is one of the hardest corners around here.
But the sign bar being pulled out now means the Blizzards can come on through, Ollie. They can find some little bit of devastation.
Korn in the Korn is being capped there in the Blizzard. Immediately gets followed up by a Diva Bomb, has nowhere to move, and then goes down in the end. Hampy finds Einador out of the mech, and then finds the mini Diva immediately after. So that's a bit of breathing room as JPK is hunting for Alex, finds them, follows it up with a kill on Makarov. That means the sight lines and the rear are already clear. Korn with the double on the front line, and now things could go really, really fast. And it looks as if Korn, at least, is betting on it going really fast. Korn and Sensitive holding the left side fast while the payload is moving, inching ever closer towards that point. Einador slapped in mid-air and then immediately popped out of that point. Skytor finds the charge, finds the shatter, and actually is being nano boosted as well. So a lot of damage coming out of that hammer. JPK has the high noon, tries to do damage mitigation, and it does still look good for a second for No Commitment. If they can hold on to that, Sensatix now has the nano boost, goes after them, and is actually able to take Krypton off the board. But Alex and Makarov are already back in. A lot of fast characters now coming out of AlterEgo for a second.
Yeah, no commitments, managed to put the Blizzard down. AlterEgo do not want to really commit to that one, but they still are staggering. Legend is on the Doomfist, Ollie, making work, making space.
Yep, Korn this time gets another good shatter, gets Legend out of the equation, and Skytor and Korn are fighting it out in a little room. But that sound barrier was able to keep Skytor ahead of the curve there for a second. Alex is able to take Hampy and Katakomi. The overtime week is already running, and now no commitment. Need to make something happen. Great shatter on Skytor. Goes down mid-charge, though. Sensatix has the bomb up there, gets Einador down. He's already back in mech against all odds. Sensatix is still alive right now. Korn is helping out, is trying to spin it to win it. The overtime week hasn't moved a single inch as Katakomi comes back in now. Alex finds Korn. Legend is able to get Hampy. The overtime week is down, and that means a win for AlterEgo, 1-1.
I mean, at that point, the Hammond isn't trying to spin it to win it. The Hammond is trying to spin it to postpone the inevitable. You weren't able to deal with the spawn points just coming out, the stagger picks, the Doomfist, the Tracer. And if you can't do that, you're never going to win that overtime contest. Not with their spawn being so much closer than yours.
Looking at what we've seen in this second round now, where was the issue for no commitment? Was it a commitment issue that they couldn't push these last couple of steps right there after it looked so open and clean when that payload moved in there, and both of the tanks were on the left side, basically trying to hold them in spawn? What happened there?
So two issues are sticking out for me at the moment for no commitments. A huge one I've already talked about is holding on to important ultimates, thinking that you're going to find insane amounts of value when you really should just put them in to see what you can pick up. Another one, and I haven't really got to talk about it, is positioning. We saw Hampe go down very early on in the defense when the Ana goes for a little bit of the wrong wraparound, picks door number one, unfortunately finds only death behind it because separated from the team, is immediately picked apart. But another bit of the positioning issues is when we saw the flank bomb coming out. It's a very nice idea, yes. But when you're going into a team who's got a Maywell and a Reinhardt who just one has to look up to see it coming, and another one just has to, press a button to immediately suppress it. Diva bombs, they're flashy. They're glowing disco balls of death in the sky. You can't really get a good flank bomb coming off unless you try to open things up and confuse the enemy team, or even just completely stun them up with CC, say like a Shatter or an EMP if you've removed all of that shielding capabilities. That's the only way flank bomb is going to get pulled off successfully, and because the Diva's away from the team, it means the pill for the supports is away. It means the backup for the Reinhardt is away. You've already at a disadvantage of numbers purely because of where your Diva is standing, and AlterEgo just pick them apart.
That's a very good and very thorough explanation. Quick question to you though. We saw the player of the game right now for the second one. Who do you think?
Player of the game. Oh, that's a tough one because a lot of these players are doing really good jobs for different reasons. The main tanks are managing to land insane amounts of shatters. The Annas are coming up absolutely huge when it comes to the antis, when it comes to the nanos, to trying to save the Reinhardts. But I've got to give it to AlterEgo's May. They're putting the blizzards in when they're supposed to. They're walling to not just initiate fights and try to get a little bit of aggression going on their side, but also to defensively save their teammates. If they're in a spot of trouble, up comes the wall, and suddenly all the follow-up that was possible is just not there anymore.
Yeah, remember that that wall Legend put up there, especially after that shatter that saved them from a lot of trouble and was absolutely beautifully executed. Of course, later Legend swapped to the Doomfist and was able to keep that overtime wig in there for a long, long time. That was beautiful. Jumping in there with a double kill. I mean, okay, at that point, no commitment, didn't expect the Doomfist, so you have a bit of an element of surprise, but still very, very well played. So I have to say, player of the second game, Legend. We'll see whether or not they can keep this up, or whether or not Eli, our player of the game from that first round with their EMPs, will make it up to there yet again, or someone else comes on to the podest for this little bit. Speaking of something that we have to speak of, we are of course here in the playoffs for the Open Division. The first season has been gone for a second, and these teams right now are playing either for their next spot in the next bracket or for elimination here in this lower bracket, especially. So, what do you think that does to either of these teams, Alter Ego and No Commitment, knowing that this could be the end of the road? Do you think they play harder? Is what's the psychological impact on a team like that in a
So
situation?
it's a seesaw. I'm not I'm not a professional psychologist, so I cannot give you a massive long 200-page thesis on of spiel about the impacts of what this is going to do. But it is essentially a seesaw. You either deal with it or you don't. And you'll know if you don't because teams will start making small, well, not just small, but little tiny tremors that you have in those engagements will suddenly just turn into full on earthquakes that will just rip apart compositions, rip apart team fights, have major ramifications that will be felt over the entire map.
So both of the teams now one map up. In a best of five, one of the teams will be eliminated. One of them has a shot at getting themselves back up there into the later game. And we are going into Dorado. Fully open question, very hard question. What do you think? Predictions?
Sombra. It's gotta be the Sombra. No Commitments managed to take Oasis, not Oasis, Ilias off the back of just running a Sombra. Alter Ego were not able to deal with Eli and how that Sombra play was just put into effect. And Dorado, we've seen the Sombra come out on Dorado in just a little bit earlier to find massive amounts of success, even forcing a swap onto a mirror Sombra at points of the map. It can be so massive, especially when you have those open space fights. Yes, there are a couple of times where you can have that natural cover to hide and dodge an EMP behind, but you also have, for as many as those open roads where the Sombra can translocate onto the high ground, drop down into an entire enemy team, and pick up a six-person EMP.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. There's one more thing I would like to highlight from that last game before we jump into this one, and that is Hampy. Hampy had both of the play of the games on an Ana. That is crazy. That is
Did
absolutely
did
crazy.
you see the sleep that Hampe was able to connect onto Aenador? Like I think you picked up on the Anna getting the kill, but what happens is Aenador was actually boosting over the death pit on King's Row C, and Hampe sees the opportunity and sleeps the Diva mech mid boost, and it just falls through the floor.
Yeah, that's right. But there was a lot of things happening at that point. So excuse me if I didn't fully see that. That is definitely right.
Oh,
Now we are
that's my personal preference coming into play. Main support player, always looking out for those amazing Anna sleeps to add to montages.
That's definitely right. Now we are loading into Dorado. Dorado, a map that needs to basically change the team's approaches, change the players' approaches with every little corner that they round. And I personally absolutely love it. Especially on the defensive side, you have so many high grounds, so many sight lines that you can actually take into account. And at least in the lower brackets, you see a lot of Widow play on this map. You see a lot of fast, jumpy kind of characters like a Sombra, like a Doomfist, because they can be all over the place, can come from everywhere. And I sometimes still hope that even in this in this high level play, we will see something like that. Right now, though, on the defensive side, everything seems to be churned butter as Alter Ego are coming in with your old standard combination here.
Well, again, you really do have to put value into the Neon Dorado. Chokes are the name and game of this map. If it's not the high ground, it's making sure that teams just cannot go through those so annoying arches without really having to pay up. And the price can be entire minutes off the time bank.
It can be entire minutes of the time bank, but it can also work out in some situations because that is just how these sightlines do work. Like I said, if you have the opportunity to get the jump on a May, the May is in most cases, well, able to defend themselves, but not able to fully fight back on this short setup. At least that is my experience. Let's see though what's happening right now. We see already Korn going in there, very aggressive on the set line. Alex finds them as Senzo takes, is able to get Skytor out of the equation right now. Makarov fights JPK, and that means that the payload's movement, at least for now, is being halted. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, AlterEgo now playing in blue on the defensive side, and on the attacking side, of course, no commitment.
Yeah, just to confuse us and the viewers at home, and to confuse Komi apparently as well. The Lucio was just standing on the high ground, didn't actually get pressured out from AlterEgo, who had no clue that an enemy was just waiting above their heads. So now that payload will start properly rolling. It's going to be this pressure of the choke once again. AlterEgo need to rush forward if they want to stop it before it goes past.
We could look at a very great push right now, though, but Korn is purple, is low, needs to get healed up in order to provide some pressure for the rest of the team. Now, Skytor is going down. No main tank on the side of AlterEgo, and that means Legend and Alex are easy pickings and are getting picked off. Einador and the Mini Diva is hanging onto it while the supports die around the payload. Skytor is back up there, but I don't think they are able to fully move back in there before this cap is real. JPK is still with the payload, but Eli very far forward, holding back the entirety of AlterEgo. No commitments, are committing to this first cap in a very, very, aggressive fashion and very forward-thinking fashion.
It's going to be just as aggressive, if not more, in this next engagement. They've got ultimates online. They've got that key Blizzard. They might not even want to use it now, though, because the Lucio goes down. AlterEgo will just be able to surge ahead using that one pick.
That's right. Makarov is still on the board, and Makarov still has that sound barrier. So that could be the deciding factor. Now the High Noon coming out there. JPK trying to find a target there. Alex holding up on that. JPK has the nano boost now. Can do some damage up here on that sidelined high ground. The Diva Bomb comes out to no avail, but Sensatix is still able to find a Legend. No May on the board, and that means that payload can continue to move, but no, Skytor immediately finds an opening there, equalizes it off, and that means AlterEgo are still there, are still able to take this down and stabilize this situation.
Yeah, and they're going to be stabilizing even further, Ollie, because they didn't put the Blizzard in on that engagement. They're going to have that one up. And Komi does not have that sound barrier to try to keep no commitments alive when this next push comes through.
Yeah, and it looks like Eli was trying to fire the Blizzard out there, but immediately during that charge was stopped. So that thing is on cooldown right now. Sensatix with that double, though. Alex and Einador going down to a Diva Bomb. That payload is not stopping anytime soon, especially since Korn is apparently already moving on to the next map. He's not even anywhere close to his team, just trying to hunt whatever he can find that looks remotely French.
And once again, the problem of initiating with a Blizzard rears its ugly head. They could have just immediately opened and shut that one down, but silver lining, they will have it for this next contest. They do have to initiate it with it on this push, though, Ollie, otherwise they run the risk of allowing Komi to build up that sound barrier.
Well, first of all, that, and second of all, they do allow that to be eaten by Einador, depending on how they throw it. Remember that Diva is a Blizzard killer. JPK finds a target. Great anti-nade coming out there on the side of Hampi, and Katakomi and JPK are taking their target up for a ride. The payload, by the way, is still riding strong. Second cap should be real, and now actually is.
And Eli is about to lap Legend in Blizzards. Actually, in 3% gonna lap Legend in Blizzards. That's how long they've been holding on to this one. Komi has the sound barrier up as well, so yes, Defense Matrix can be a Blizzard killer, but so can sound barrier. They're gonna have to be extremely careful about how they come into this next engagement. Have to respect that now the advantage in Ultimate is on the side of no commitments.
Makarov also has a sound barrier up right now. By the moment that we look at him, he is ready to roll. So now it's two support ults and a Blizzard on both sides. The difference maker here could be Korn. Korn is very close to that shatter, so if you out-shatter those defensive ultimates, that could actually work out very well. Blizzard coming out there for Eli. Katakomi and Hump already fired everything out there. There's the shatter for Korn, and Korn and Eli make sure that this is just exactly what happens at the moment that it needs to happen. Beautifully done there. Korn, like I said, the dividing factor in this fight. Both teams use everything except for Legend, who still has his Blizzard.
Yeah, I'll leave the Mace look at the Blizzard. Like, this is just a constant in Overwatch now. Legend's just gonna die with that Blizzard up once again.
That's right, the high noon coming out there. JPK in the, very close to actually getting booped out for a second. Korn saves themselves by charging out of that Blizzard. Legends did not find a lot of value except for a little pullback here on the side of a no commitment, as AlterEgo have to fight for their lives. 2 minutes 25 on the clock is a decent time. We know that point here is hard to cap, and we know that AlterEgo have everything in their power and everything in their talents to make sure that it does not get capped very soon. Skytor shows us that with an impressive double kill, and that means no commitment for the first time, fully back in their spawn.
Yeah, so Legends Blizzard may not have bought them kills, but it did buy them both time and distance, which allowed AlterEgo to go for a little bit more of an aggressive push, and no commitments just pulled back, allowed that to occur. 1 minute 53 on the clock. This team can still very easily push that payload, especially coming up to this Blizzard and Bomb.
High noon coming out here on the side of Alex. Doesn't find a target, but now gets upped once again by a May wall. Doesn't find a target because Sensitix was there with the defensive matrix. And there's a Diva Bomb coming out, finds Alex. There's a shatter, this time on the side of Skytor. Skytor finds a target, finds Korn, but both of the targets, both of the Reinhardt actually, are now nano boosted, so neither of them going down for now. Now Korn sees his opening, can't resist, goes in there, shoulder bashes him only, but is able to select that out there. That was a whiff shatter, if you ask me. Legend had to use the ice block, but that was about the only thing they got out of that. But still, no commitment, moving in there, 2 meters away from absolute glory. There's a Diva Bomb coming out from Einador. Doesn't find any targets as Korn and Katakomi find their respective targets, especially Katakomi killing Alex is a big one in this setup, because that means not a lot of holding this payload back, and that was the end of it.
And again, Hampe, one of those names who really is just doing so much for his team. When Korn and AlterEgo Skytor is nanoed, both of them are trying to hack away, but it's Skytor who is antied, and Korn is able to just chunk him down because the support is just not coming through for that Reinhardt. Hampe just coming in, putting those anti-nades in, messing all of the HP bars of AlterEgo up.
Yes, and now that means that it is AlterEgo who are on the attacking side, and we have seen that they can take this same setup that they have that they've used to defend and be very, very aggressive with that. But they need to be able to, get the drop on them. How best can AlterEgo use what we at least expect them to do in order to get past no commitments here?
Initiate ultimates. That is it. That is the only thing that I can advise this team, because Diana's positioning is perfect. Skytor, yes, sometimes does get a little couple of whiff shatters, but so too does Korn. The real thing that's holding this team back, and I'm gonna say it again, I'm gonna sound like a complete broken record, but I'm gonna drill it into the skulls of every single May player that is currently out there, both in tournaments and on ladder. Blizzard is the fight-winning ultimate if you start the fight with it.
Well, if you can start the fight with it, well, because once again, there are a lot of mitigating factors, especially in this meta with the sound barrier, with the, with the defense matrix, and whiffing a Blizzard is just a lot of Fs in chat at this point. Korn already very far forward here, trying to hold it back as the payload comes around the first corner. Lots of high ground engagement here on that side. JPK has to jump down there in order to find a angle onto the enemy. Alex finds the first one, Happy going down, but Eli is able to follow it up and take Legends back. Sensitix gets Skytor off, and Korn goes down. You don't want your Reinhardt to go down if he has that long a way back that early in the engagement.
Especially because the Ana needs to come as well. So you are seeing no commitments just immediately try to just get away, disengage. They know that if they went in, it would be at such a huge disadvantage. It would just lead to a stagger fight. Does mean, though, that they've given up the choke, and AlterEgo can get this payload properly moving towards that first point.
Moving up towards that first point indeed, and they are trying it. Now is the Blizzard coming out. Eli has listened to your words of wisdom and fires it in. Katakomi with the double, with that triple, follows it in. Katakomi, you beautiful Italian person. That was well played.
Katakomi coming in for the team when they need it the most, finishing up those cleanups off the back of Eli's Blizzard, does have the signed barrier as well, so could very easily be once again the saving grace for their team, because AlterEgo, they do have this nano. They can't try to put it on to Skyto to open things up and force once again this fight on the front lines.
We'll see what's going to happen now. Are they going to heaven or not? There you go, trying to save that. High Noon coming out behind that Rhine shield. And now both of the teams are trying to find something. Now the draw is coming out. No targets find out. The nano boosts on both of the Reinhardts are real. Alex finds JPK in the backline. But Eli once again takes Legend out of the equation here. So no May on the attacking side. And that is a problem when you have to fight an aggressive Rhine like Korn. High Noon coming out on the other side. Alex finds Korn finally with a nice little sidestep here. Gets the right sight line, just pulls the trigger, follows it up with a kill on Eli. And it looks as if AlterEgo can salvage this, and they will salvage this. And they should be able to push this up forward. Sensonic is... Jesus. Sensotic. Terribly sorry there, mate. Is trying to hold it up to no avail. 3 minutes 56 on the clock. So what do you think about that time? Good enough for round 2?
It should be good enough as long as the payload doesn't get held up until through street space. And this is the problem now that we're going to have. Both of these Mays have Blizzards on the board. Both of these Lucios do not have the signed barrier. Divas will have defense matrix. But both of these Mays are going to have to start things off. You can try and pressure the Diva, yes. But you also need to use Blizzard before your opponent.
You do have to do that. Skytor being blocked there on the shatter, but the Blizzard comes out from Legend. Sensor takes in trouble right there. Eli still standing in there, but able to move after holding on to most of that. Katakomi finds Skytor in the sidelines, and now Korn once again nano boosted. Once again, very, very far forward. Korn and Katakomi do not let up. Once they smell blood, they go in and they take out.
Well, they're going to be taking away just a little bit now, because AlterEgo are coming in with Krypton sitting on this nano, and Skytor is going to be looking for that juicy hammer swing. Has to respect no commitments though. Korn has that shadow ready and waiting to land behind his shield.
A couple of minutes ago, someone called you toxic to all flex DPS, and I find that kind of funny. There's a fire strike onto Korn that takes him down. Skytor able to assert his dominance right there, and Eli immediately following. That means AlterEgo are able to get this payload once again running. Now Skytor moving way forward, going to try and stop No Commitment from doing anything about it. And I love these kinds of plays.
Yeah, just taking up the high ground, making sure that No Commitments can't get that Deadeye going from that one advantageous positioning. Katakomi does have this signed barrier though, so they can get aggressively.
Alex with the High Noon, looking for a target, gets Maywall, doesn't have an angle, and the angle that they have will get stopped by Korn. Good shield usage right there. Sensor takes another big bomb. Legends and Krypton going down, nice double kill, and that should mean that No Commitment for now can at least hold this approach for a little while. JPK going down, but Core immediately is able to get Skytorn with the fire strike of their own, moving it up forward, and now No Commitment need to set up aggressively in order to keep that payload from moving any further.
But they have absolutely everything and anything you can possibly want if you want a payload to be stopped. They've got so many things in their arsenal, Ollie, that AlterEgo, they're going to go for a little bit of a different rotation, trying not to take a brunt of damage before they can even get within seeing distance of the payload. Has been spotted out, though. No Commitment, since something is a little bit strange, and turn around ready to face their enemies.
We will see what's going to happen as both of them take the high ground. JPK already firing the High Noon up, needs to draw. Ionator flying in there with the defense matrix and eating most of that. And that is the way that you use a Diva. Beautifully done. Now Korn yet again. Nano Skytor with the shatter does find Eli, because Eli wasn't moving. Well, that counter shatter is huge. Now this could potentially be a beautiful setup, but the Blizzard makes sure that that payload is still moving. Korn did not have the backup to follow it up on that great shatter, and that means AlterEgo are moving this further forward.
My heart goes out to Eli. Tried to put the Blizzard in, sees that Ionador is actually away fighting a different section of the team fight, tries to put Blizzard down, get shattered out of it. So Blizzard gonna be taken away. A little bit of a whiff there. AlterEgo gonna be trying to press this one. Well, nope, they're just gonna try and hurt themselves away, not wanting to take any damage until Skytor is there with the shield, and they can start going for a little bit of that safe approach.
You see a lot of love, especially on AlterEgo's Alex in the chat right now. Remember, these teams need your support. These teams need your help because they are fighting for their very survival. So give me that copy pasta. Let's have some hype in here because we are going for a long series. These teams are so evenly matched and are just showing them every trick in the book. Sensitix with the Diva Bomb doesn't find any target. There's a counter Diva Bomb that is very well positioned. Hampy is in trouble. Einador exactly knew when to strike and did so. Korn going down to a couple of firing rockets there out of that big mech, and that means that AlterEgo are still not stopping for now, even though Eli is just holding up onto the payload. Actually, that May wall gets you so far away from the payload that it still will be moving, wall or no wall.
Well, keep an eye on Skytor, has the shatter ready and waiting. Korn not quite ready to get that counterplay going. It's going to be up to Eli to try to save things for the team with that Blizzard to slow things down.
There we go. Both Blizzards are already out there, so both of them initiating with that setup. Legend finds JPK, and Eli is able to get Skytor out, so no shatter coming out of that one. But Korn on the other side also gets down to Einador. Einador is just everywhere, and they are there when they are needed to be there. There is just someone jumping in. JPK now has the nano and is extending with a double kill. Alex and Legend going down. JPK might be saving the day right now, but Einador fires in another boom. Now there are both of the shatters. Skytor gets much more value out of that one. Hampy going down, the overtime wick still running, and Makarov and Krypton use that shatter to get what they want. The overtime wick is down, and that is it. Round 2 complete. Very, very well parked.
Yes, but it was an overtime, which means you've only got 1 minute on the clock. On the other side, you've got 1 minute 46, so already starting the map with an obvious advantage.
Yes, but 46 seconds of difference. I mean, that's one team fight. Both of these teams have all the qualities in order to mitigate that advantage, and thereby this should still prove to be a very, very close match as we load into the next defensive strike here. Well, offensive strike and offensive defense, I suppose.
Well, I mean, next stint of Dorado. I mean, what's really going to tip it in either team's favor is who is able to manage to just make the most of that choke. Because that is going to be realistically where the payload is going to have the most difficulty getting past. You can try to hold really aggressively at that first corner, but you always run the risk of losing that team fight instantly, just being piled upon by the attackers as they flood out of spawn. If you lose one person in that engagement, you have to just get out with your tail between your legs because that spawn is so much closer. They'll get back into the action so much faster, and that means as you fall away that you just let chokes slip through your fingers. It's a very risky gamble. And sometimes it can pay dividends, but sometimes it can just be the reason for that map defeat.
I do agree to a certain extent. On the other side, remember, the biggest differentiator between these two teams right now are the Rhine shatters. Skytor seems to be able to get much more value out of his shatters, and that mostly comes down to Korn being very impatient when firing out his. Now moving around the first corner, both of the May walls are going down there. And it looks as if no commitment already in a bit of issue when it comes to the amount of damage. But Alex going down to JPK. So all you Alex fans out there, he needs a bit more love from you. Sensitix finds Legend, and that means back to the spawn point for the ladies and gentlemen at AlterEgo.
And this is going to be the last fight. Whoever hits ultimates first is going to be one huge leg up in this next engagement.
This could actually be a defining point because it is just 10 seconds on the clock. Both of the teams are going for a fight very early on. There's a shatter from Korn. Does find a couple of small things, but not a lot of value. Once again, Skytor gets Sensitix out of mech and gets them away from that. Ionados flying in on the sideline. Katakomi and Korn yet again on the killing spree. Korn finding a lot of targets. The overtime week ticking down. Alex trying to get close. Can't make it in time. Round 3 complete.
So no commitments were able to build ultimates up that Alter Ego just were not ready for in that last fight. And as a result, they just wash over with the sheer power of strength. No matter how much will you have, no matter how many people tried to keep Alex alive, he did manage to get a pick. I think he was the only person on the side of Alter Ego in that last scrap who did manage to get a pick before everyone was just shattered and sent back to spawn. So fan love apparently helping the team, but keep going, guys. You'll need to spam a little bit more if you want that victory screen to be popping up soon.
Definitely, especially if you want that to be coming for Alter Ego, because they are now really in a bind. 1 minute 46 on the clock, as no commitment can go closer, and that payload did not move a long while. So look at that cap zone. That cap zone is just a couple of meters away. And very, very easily pushed into if you make even a single mistake on the defensive side.
Yeah, this forces Alter Ego's hand so much. They can't try to hold it choke. They have to just pile onto no commitments as soon as they show their faces, because once that payload rounds the corner, it is curtains for Dorado for this team. So you can see they're all just creeping around, trying to get a little bit of early damage in. Skytor wants to go for that beginning fire strike as they walk out. So Sensitix will be there with Defense Matrix. Does manage to eat it. There it goes. No ult charge for the Reinhardt.
Oh, big anti-nade already coming down immediately on the side of Krypton. That can at least spooky for a second. The stacked May wall keeps Sensitix from jumping over it. I don't know whether or not that was planned, but even if it wasn't, that was some beautiful building you did straight up. Korn very low at this point. Moved in there with the hammer quite a bit. Has to pull back, and Sensitix as well. Sensitix very low at this point. But look at that. The Alter Ego people are just standing on top of the cap point and trying to keep no commitment as far away as they can. Huge anti-nade coming out there on the side of Hampy, and Eli finds Alex. That means there is not a lot of damage on the board. Korn with the shatter that did some damage but couldn't fully close that deal out. The Blizzard coming out there for the side of no commitment. Alter Ego has nothing to pull against them, and that means no commitment. Take the 2-1.
Oh, you do feel for Alter Ego. They were in such a hard place, realistically, because think of all of the time that you had to just build up ultimates, build up a Blizzard, build up a Nano. You can do anything you want to bait out that sound barrier and know that Blizzard is going to come up big.
Yes, that's right. That's right. It looked like it would come out big. Speaking of coming out big, Eli gets the play of the game here. Out of that out of that triple kill from Katakomi, who just saw that this is something that you need to do, want to do, and he just had the the cold-bloodedness to jump in there and make that triple and confirm those kills. Beautiful play here from both Eli and Katakomi, but a well-played map on both sides. So on to the next match. Oh no, let's talk about this for a little bit more. So we saw 4 rounds of Dorado, all of them in the same team compositions, but all of them wildly different in terms of pacing, in terms of execution, in terms of precision. What's your take on what we just saw?
So you can see that Korn and Skyto have figured each other out. Although I would say that Korn has figured Skyto out just a little bit more. You yourself pointed it out that Reinhardt has been getting so many shatters for us. You sometimes see the other one getting just a little bit too cocky, too confident in their positioning, and try to just drop their shatter a little bit early, only to find it blocked and then immediately just fired straight back at them. You talked to me a little bit about the player of the round for the first two. And Ollie, I'm now going to turn the tables on you. I think I know
Yes.
your answer, but who would you say really took that round? Who played out of their minds?
Who played out of their minds? Well, Skytor. SkyTour was there when you needed them. SkyTour had the shatters when you needed them. That clutch shatter, actually, at the end of round two, was the only reason that Alter Ego was able to fully push that into that last little bit. I know Katakomi had some great plays. I know we saw some great counter nades from Hampy, but SkyTour on the side of Alter Ego is one hell of a rhyme. Even though, if you turn the tables around, you see that Korn in a non earth-shattering kind of situation, swinging that hammer is much more effective than Skytor on the other side. When push comes to shove, one is pushing and not being shoved, and that is Skytor on Alter Ego's side. Great main tank, and I'm looking forward to see what they can do on Hanamura, where we're going to next.
Yeah, it is always going to be that question of what is better, what would you prefer? The question of is it consistency or is it clutch? And I think we've got consistency in Korn, who, as you were saying, is being very good when it's just that normal Reinhardt play, keeping the team safe, keeping the shield up, getting a couple of fire strikes and hammer kills in. Then you've got Skytor, who perhaps lags a little bit behind when it comes to that normalized Reinhardt play, but when it comes to putting ultimates in and finding value for it, is a little bit head and shoulders above the rest. And headed off to Hanamura, I don't think we're going to see much difference coming up from the defending side, but fingers crossed, the attackers do have a little bit of a, tactic that some people tend to sometimes pull out in a little bit of a pickle. And that's the Symmetra teleporter combined with a Maywall.
No, just no, because that in
What,
this
you don't want to dance with
first
the
set.
devil under the pale Hanamura light?
No, I don't want to dance with the devil under the pale Hanamura light because I would have to fly you to Japan first. But we'll see what's going to happen next up. So, what I would like to see here, personally, and that's just because it's a lot of flashy lights, a lot of fast action, and a lot of fast words on my side, is if we could get another one of those dive rounds. We saw on Control that both of these teams have a more than basic concept of how to run a dive composition, and I would love no commitments. Just come out of the gate with that dive comp and just go fully ham on that. On the defensive side, in blue, Alter Ego are going for a little bit of a slight change to the standard setup. It looks like they are expecting the monkey because they're bringing the Brigitte.
Looks like they may as well be expecting the Sombra. Because Sombra is another one where you can get away with on Hanamura, and you can try and sneak around the back of the point, get a little bit of a hack onto one of the supports, try and take them out of the fight, and allow the rest of your team to try and pile on in. But you sacrifice the Mei. If you run the Sombra, you sacrifice that mobility that you have with those walls, with the separation, the utility, the sustainability of just staying alive, completely unkillable in that ice block. Looks like Eli is on the same page as myself, gonna be coming up for Mei, not the Mexican.
That's right, and they're taking the scenic route already here at no commitments, just biding their time and waiting for that startup. Oh, they were trying to build a little bit of a bridge, but that immediately got foiled by Legend with a nice counter wall. Beautifully done. Einador gets Korn, who was in a bit of a bind. As soon as he fell off that wall, he was basically easy pickings, and Alex knew that. Alex with the double straight there. All you Alex fans out there, make some noise, because that was a beautiful play from Alter Ego and beautifully executed by your favorite head clicker.
Poor JPK on the other side feels a little bit unloved, but it's going to be trying to get to that Jedi. Eli, though, is going to be the one who hits ultimate first. 82% to this Blizzard. It's not the first, it's not rare that we sometimes see Mei manage to get that one, but it is definitely a game changer when it comes out.
Now, moving on in there is Sensor Ticks. Korn already going down because they were stopped on the side by the Mei. Skytor and Legend are able to clear off JPK and Korn. No main tank, no main DPS on the attacking side. And it looks very, very solid, the things that Alter Ego are doing straight away.
Yeah, but this is where things can come a little bit apart for this team. Eli has the Blizzard, and you can already see Alter Ego playing around it accordingly. They're a little bit scattered, a little bit fragmented. Krypton's going to be on the high ground, making sure they don't get caught in it.
Rally is coming in, but the anti-nade is absolutely huge. Korn trying to go in there, immediately gets caught on by a Blizzard that was very well timed here on the side of Eli. JPK finds Alex. There's a sound barrier coming up from Katakomi, and now the attackers should have the upper hand. JPK finds Skytor. Katakomi follows it up on Krypton, and this should result in a first point cap.
they managed to pull it all off. Mostly the Hampe just managing to stay alive, keep everyone up. These Annas at the moment, their positioning has been, well, absolutely beautiful. My compliments to both of them, whether it's Krypton, who's just on the high ground, making sure that they don't get caught out in the freezer, able to keep Skytora alive, whether it's Hampe just making sure that they don't get pressured down and are able to keep Korn up. Both of these Annas really swinging things in favor of their team. Though the question of whether you're going to get a snowball going, well, that's a little bit hampered by Legend, who's going to be looking for that Blizzard, trying to shut this push down immediately.
That's right. Now Korn taking his team all the way up to the main overlay. JPK trying to go with the high noon. The Diva Bomb is, the May Wall is there to stop it. And now the counter is real. Both of them going in with the same tactics. Sensotix is being defense matrix, but still finds Eli. Alex moving in there. JPK takes it in there as well. And Alex is able to stabilize the situation. Einador and Makarov immediately jumping in there with them in order to clear this out. 3 minutes 50 on the clock. One tick has already been realized, so very, very fast cap. Lots of ults on both sides. Let's see what is the win condition on this one. What do they have to do? No commitments to get through this ult spam possibility.
Well, they have to start pulling more than one ultimate out from AlterEgo. You cannot allow the defense to get a really nice cycling of ultimates. You need to pull at least 1, 2 out in this push without putting in ones of your own until you have that signed bearer ready to call in on as a get out of jail free card.
Coming in from the lower side now, no commitments. They need to commit. There's a shatter from Skytor, and that is huge. Alex and Legend immediately going in there and making sure that they can profit from that. Korn and Makarov, Korn and him are getting killed there as a last little bit, and that's back to the drawing board. But what a shatter. That shield was gone for less than a nanosecond. Beautifully done. Very, very opportunistic on the side of Skytor.
But like, you have to congratulate no commitments. They, yes, were on their back, so they weren't really able to get the reaction time going, but they don't put anything in, which means that they still have everything to their name for this next push. It's not the Blizzard that you really want to get pulled out of, but it is still something. They're going to be able to come up the high ground as well, knowing that the Shadow just is not available.
Oh, that's a split on the high ground. That went very well for them because Skytor and Alex are able to capitalize off the back of that beautiful, beautiful Maywall. And Legend is just a builder at this point. Can he fix it? Yes, he can.
Well, he's still gonna have that fix-up of that Blizzard. But Eli likewise is gonna have one of their own. And Katakomi is gonna get that Steinbar online before Makarov. So this is something that no commitments can try to spin to their advantage if they just speed boost onto main and force that all and out fight on point. They should have the advantage when it comes to sustainability and staying alive.
That's right, but still another Maywall is blocking them off immediately. And there's a Blizzard immediately followed up by that Legend is holding that main as close as they can. Sensotix is the only one who was being set up. Sleep on both sides. Skytor in trouble. Even though the nano boost was up, Legend is down by JPK's high noon right now. And this could be a moment where no commitment can take it down. There's a Diva Bomb coming in there, and Heimpe and JPK looked in trouble for a second, but were able to just out the line of sight of that big explosion. Now Korn with a counter shatter finds 3, and this is opening it up to the public. Einador with the nano boost jumps onto Sensotix, but the second tick is already real. It's now 3 versus 2 on the body advantage. Korn gets Skytor out. JPK with another one on Legend, and this could be enough to actually cap it out. We will see just one person here. Makarov still on point. Krypton trying to get in there. Krypton ghosting it out, and now Skytor on the ball. 4 versus 1. Eli finds Krypton, and this looks very coordinated in terms of target calling, and that is just what you need in order to close out this final, especially in one of those drawn out finds. Legends back on that Doomfist finds Hampe, but Sensotix is able to take it off the equation. 28 seconds on the clock. Round 1 complete.
I mean, for a team that apparently does not scrim that much, no commitments were looking exceptionally organized when it came to that stagger. You pointed it out perfectly. The focus was that. As soon as a new target appeared, the entire team just sort of swung their faces in that direction, and bam, they were back in the spawn before you could blink. AlterEgo,
Yes.
yes, they swapped to those stagger picks. They tried to get something going. They tried to get the Hammond in there, but Hannah Murabi, it's not really well known for anything that the hamster can spin off of.
Yeah, the thing right there is just why you try to tell your people in comp that they need to get into the comms channel, and they show you that the strength of that is just being able to call out the targets. And if you actually adhere to that and follow through on that with an entire team at your back, it's a beautiful feeling, because then it's just a 1v4 or 1v5 fight, as in this case, and that can be a very effective strategy. Now, though, the tables will be turned. We know notoriously, at least in the last couple of rounds, that AlterEgo on the attack actually crank up the pressure, crank up an entirely different vat of energy, and that could potentially be very, very dangerous for No Commitment, who need to hold this for a long time in order to actually equalize or even better this.
I mean, I know they're in the attacking spawn. I know Alex can very easily shatter all of my hopes and dreams and swap off to a different DPS. But my god, Ollie, I've got my fingers crossed. I'm hoping they're running with this. Anador is going to be on the Orisa. They're just going to try and dump the teleporter onto that courtyard. Try and just set up a double shield bunker on point. If No Commitments can't spot this out and the rotation doesn't come through, this could be absolutely deadly. They could lose point A off the first fight.
Yes, it looks like they are in a very beautiful situation. Look at the teleporter all the way up on the high ground and then moving into the point with a vengeance. Now, though, this is close quarters combat, and this is where a No Commitments can shine. Korn already finds Alex with a fire strike, and now it's just swinging that big hammer all the way around. They are not getting surprised by that. The only kill on the side of AlterEgo is Makarov finding JPK, and that is just not enough to flabbergast this No Commitment team that we see here today.
Well, they tried it, and they're immediately gonna swap off it. And yeah, you do need to. In these fights, you get that one chance to try and just immediately surprise the enemy team, and unfortunately, it doesn't work out. Swaps will come through. Alex onto the McCree. Gonna be a little bit behind on Ultra against JPK, though.
That's right, but Legend finds Eli, so at least the equalizer on the side of the Blizzard has been done, and now Legend is ready to use that Blizzard earlier than their counterpart. Korn going down to Skytor, so no shatter on that side. Skytor has all the weapons still in his arsenal. Gets stunned there, gets lowered after a great anti-nade. JPK moving in there, finds Legend. That was a very, very ballsy high noon that JPK just pulled off. Einador going down, and Sensitix and JPK are able to clear it out.
The Deadeye actually, yes, while a Risk managed to just swing things for his team. So JPK, a little bit of a hero of the hour at this moment, could have been pretty dicey for No Commitments had that one not really come through. Korn and Sensitix, both sitting on ultimates currently, are going to just be waiting on that low ground, trying to just negate the damage from AlterEgo as they try to push in. I do want to see if they can try and duo these ults, though.
That's right, now coming over that main wall. That was a great diva bomb. The shatter from Korn coming in there does not have enough follow-up to actually be dangerous, but at least they're stopping him for a second. Skytor for the second time being pushed into a corner. Now both the Blizzards are out. Legend is clearing out the right side, but the better position on the Blizzard was in Eli's favor, and Eli is rewarding themselves by taking the triple kill.
Oh, it's a series of unfortunate events for AlterEgo. They put in the Blizzard round about the same time that Krypton goes down, and the team without a main support when you're running the Lucio as your backup just not gonna have enough to stay alive long. No Commitments, they do still have this nano, but AlterEgo, they've been banking a couple of ultimates up of their own. They should be able to just come in, press those, and win out point A.
There's a shatter. Shatter gets blocked for a biggest part, and that was maybe a bit early for the Shatter Miracle Wunderkid Skytor, because that did not work the way that they wanted. And now it's a Reinhardt versus Reinhardt fight that gets stopped, and a double kill bomb here. Katakomi and Sensitix already going down. AlterEgo have a shot at going in there. 40 seconds is still on the clock, and that means they need to get a hustle going. Second tick is going real, and this should be the cap.
Skytor just played distraction with Korn, meant that the Rhine Shield just was not there for the side of no commitments, and so the bomb finds so much value and allows them to pick off point A. They are going to have a tough time, very hard hill to climb, Ollie, though, because they're going to be coming into, well, a couple of ultimates that are less than pleasant to go into when you don't have a signed barrier to your name.
That's right, and it was a great distraction on the side of Skytor, if that was the plan, but you know, there's no ego in AlterEgo. Let's see what's going to happen next as they move up to the high ground. They are moving in exactly the same way, the exact same route that their counterparts did earlier. Alex trying to find a target past that May wall, doesn't find them because Korn was able to hold most of those sightlines clear. Now JPK gets booped away and nearly gets a target, immediately gets booped further out there, gets slept for a second. That looked very, very hairy for them, and I can imagine that that is not a nice position to be in. Great Blizzard on that side. JPK finds Krypton, but Einador and Alex are able to capitalize on that. Korn with the double. Sensor ticks, closes it out, and that is cleared before the first tick is real. Remember, no commitment had the first tick on their first attack.
Yeah, so this is going to be where we see things start to, well, speed up just a little bit, if it's even possible. The Lucios have the speed boosts, the Reinhardts have the shatters, Ollie. This is where we get to see the Speedy Gonzalez play in proper full glory. Korn's looking like he wants to go for that shatter, trying to go for a little bit of a drop down, try to see if there's a little bit of sneak around, spots it out.
That is right. They're taking the scenic lower route right there. JPK already finds Alex, so that could, you know, definitely change the approach that they're going for. Krypton on Skytor going down. Korn is able to find Legend with a fire strike as well, and that was a fast clear on the side of no commitments. 1 minute and 30 on the clock.
No ultimates committed either. Hampe was just able to make sure that everyone on the side of AlterEgo just got drenched in that purple acid, not able to get the support lineup going through. And so again, we're waiting to see the counter shatter speed play. You can see Katakami just trying to lob in a little bit of damage from the window spot out where AlterEgo are going to be approaching. It will be the battle of the high ground, the battle of the Reinhardts.
Yes, and they're trying to do that now. The Maywalls are both in there, but great sound barrier coming out of Katakomi, saving most of their team. Eli and Sensitix are able to make something happen on the back of that, and that means that Legend and Alex are going down. Krypton immediately following afterwards, and still no red. No blue in that side of the red. Still no tick for AlterEgo.
But they've been holding on to so many ultimates. Goto went down before the shadow was able to be put in. So a little bit of a silver lining, you'll have it for this next push. In fact, you'll have all of your aggressive ults that you could possibly desire. It is going to be a question of getting it past Sensitix. With that defense matrix, with that blizzard, if you can manage to land it, this is when you can really start that tick percentage starting to accrue on your side.
There's the blizzard coming out, then the counter blizzard immediately moving in there. Great big anti-nade. Hampe is trying to keep this as smooth as they can with only 9 seconds on the clock, but Alex finds Katakomi. Now the Diva Bomb is coming out there, doesn't find a direct target, but Eli goes down to Makarov, who was able to sneak in from the side. The overtime wick is already running, and we see a body advantage still on the side of no commitment. That was a shatter that got stopped on that side. Alex with that double. That is a clutch play. JPK and Korn going down. Now Skytor has to keep his team safe as Alex gets Hampe. The overtime wick is running. The first tick is real, and now it is a matter of target calling versus very, very fast counterplay. Sensor ticks jumping in there with the Hammond. Does not get very far because it is frozen out. Legend is ready to commit fully to this setup. Krypton going down there through Korn, so no main tank on the side of AlterEgo. If they are able to take this all the way, then this would be one hell of a fight, and it looks like they are going as hard as they can. It is done, and the French people are going for the next bit. Beautifully played by AlterEgo here in that last attack. Remember, they started this attack at 22 seconds and still pop it out.
It is a miracle, and not only that, some amazing play, some amazing shot calls, and Krypton again keeping the team alive. The Nano comes through onto the Diva to keep Anador alive when that contest starts going. The stagger picks, they're just not able to chip in the amount of damage required to get the Diva out of mech or any of the side of AlterEgo down, and they are breathing a big sigh of relief. Ollie, that one came down to the wire.
It did. And remember, Alex going in from the site with a very, very risky position to High Noon right there. Immediately follows it up to a number 3, and that just opens up the gates there to flood No Commitment, who looked very much non-committed to that last fight. As soon as both of the May walls were down, this just looked like an absolute clusterfest.
Yeah, but now you have this question of time bank. 1 minute to 1 minute 28. Not a lot of time between these teams. So if anyone is able to actually manage to get point percentage on the board, they are going to be so happy because Hanamura, well, you want to talk about chokes. He's got one of the hardest ones in the game to get through.
That's right, the chokes are no jokes on this one. Attack objective A, as we see the the AlterEgo, ladies and gentlemen, moving out here against No Commitment, who are opting for a very aggressive double defense here with Korn and Sensotix straight in there. Remember, with both of those Mays just being devastating on those walls, that is a very risky play. Makarov and Skytor both look very low, but it is Katagomi who bites the bullet first, and Sensotix going out of mech after some nice shooting by Alex here. Alex has all the freedom in the world to actually make something happen. Now Korn going down. This could actually be a snowball straight into the next bit. Hampy in trouble because Legend is in their face, and Iron Dog gets JPK and Eli off the board. This is the first cap, and they're immediately going on to point B. 10 seconds still on the clock though.
Yeah, and if you're No Commitments, you cannot swap any of your composition up. You cannot reset your ultimate charges when you have to defend for 30 seconds only with the things you've currently got to your name. JPK is going to be coming up to that Deadeye, has been able to find a couple bits of value here and there. But Alex, likewise, is racing towards that one, and Krypton has that nano boost. We might be seeing a little bit of the electric cowboy coming in just a second.
There's a lot of things that could go wrong still, though. The High Noon is coming. It is now up there on the high ground as it gets boosted by that May wall. JPK finds Alex though right now, so no more sneaky High Noons coming from the sidelines from him. Actually, JPK trying to copy that kind of behavior. The first tick still not fully committed. Happy with a double kill on the anti-nade. Legend and Skytor both going down, and that Blizzard will not help you out on that one. That was beautifully defended right there. No Commitment is still there to hold point B, but they have a titanic task to temper with.
Yeah, Eli's Blizzard there was just the final nail in the coffin for that push. It just immediately shut things down, forced AlterEgo to try to respond with a Blizzard of their own, but they've just lost too many members. They're not able to get the damage going on through, and so they will, though, be quite happy. They managed to actually see the insides of Hanamura point B, something which, when you have 1 minute on the clock to get through to point A, well, that is nothing to slouch at.
We will see what's going to happen. We will see how both of these teams are getting out of the gates right now. Both of them going with the same kind of setup. Still, Makarov once again on the Brigitte. So are they expecting the monkey again?
They feel like maybe they're expecting the monkey, maybe they're expecting the summer, maybe they're expecting a completely different ball game altogether for whatever is going to come out of those spawn doors. It's a risky play. It really does mean that you don't have that signed barrier to build up to, but it means that you have the armor packs, and those can go onto anyone and everything on your team. Remember, armor now has had a reduction of damage onto it, so you give yourself a little bit of extra survivability. If you just spam that onto Legend's back, that May is going to be nigh unstoppable.
We will see whether or not that will be nigh unstoppable, because we've said that before, and that is a kind of prediction, especially in this kind of map, that can just fire backwards very, very quickly. So we'll see what's going to happen right now. Eli already setting it up there, blocking the sidelines. The counter main wall, setting it in, and it looks as if no commitments are not entirely sure whether or not they should go in at this point. AlterEgo, very well set up in that corner. Very, very clutched out there. JPK finds Skytor. Now, this should open up the gates right there if they can put something of force in there. Katakomi takes Matikar out, but it is Alex who finds Korn, and that means that no commitment are down a main tank just as much as the other side, and it is not a given yet that they can move forward and cap it out. Great Maywall, by the way, there, just holding off the entirety of non-commitment from that point, just getting a couple of seconds of anti-cap. Now the first tick going in, Maywall to hold them off as long as possible. Skytor already leading the charge here for AlterEgo, and the French Brigade are moving in there. Now Korn is nano boost and is looking for targets, but cannot find them due to a lot of Maywalls. Great counter charge here on Skytor's side, but JPK is able to fire it out. There was a shatter from Skytor, I believe, and that was the shatter from Korn. Skytor makes it happen with the counter shatter. The overtime is running out. No cap, and I say AlterEgo win it. This is the 2-2, and bonjour everyone. We're going into map 5. Booyah!
That is why if you manage to take point A in a minute of Hanamura, you are patting yourself on the back. Because you can absolutely just hold teams up and not allow them to even get their foot onto that point if you played that choke the way it is meant to be played. And that is pretty much titanical, is how chokes like that are meant to be worked around.
Wow, what a play, what a game, what a fight in that last little bit. I don't know about you, Moxie, but I'm getting more hype by the second. I can see that the chat is fully taken over by the French. This is fabulous, absolutely beautiful to see, and I want to see more. So we're going into the clutcher. We're going into that map 5, and we need some absolute power from all of you. What we also need, of course, is you checking out the donations below. I know I'm plugging this a lot, but we're here for a good cause. Let's actually do something, because we have a $30 in the pot right now. You need 250 to have me do a full Reinhardt impression. Maybe I'll even stand up and do the hammer swing. We'll see about that. But for now, let's see what we are going into next. It looks as if we are going into Busan. Is that right?
Looks like we may be well headed off into Busan. Not something that we've got to see today a lot of, but can be pretty nice for the Sombra play. Busan, I
Yes.
think some points are just built around allowing teams to get 5 people, 6 people EMPs. And we're not going to talk about Mecha Base. Mecha Base can be quite a nuisance when it comes to trying to build up those EMPs if you can't keep a track of those moving walls.
Yes.
But definitely in contention for that one is Downtown.
Yes, downtown is absolutely crazy, and also that garden bit, I really forget the name of it, is one of those
Sanctuary. For
maps.
some reason, everyone always forgets the name Sanctuary.
Yes, well, it is quite an easy name, but we have so many sanctuaries in so many games. You tend to think that Blizzard is a bit better at naming their sub maps, but we'll see whether or not they will just. Yes, Blizzard, if you're listening, change the name because we can't remember it. Thank you
I
very
mean, you've
much.
got what?
Uh,
Sanctuary, Sanctum, Shrine. So
yes,
many ones that just begin with an S.
yes, and basically mean the same thing.
They just got a thesaurus out and they were like, Temple. We've already got Temple of Anubis. What else can we call things?
But let's go back into professional, talking about semi-professional Overwatch. So looking at the last game, those were some really clutch moves, and I'm still struggling to find the difference between these two teams. So if you had to fly over, top over this, over all these games we've seen, not just the last map, but all of it, what would you say is the difference, and where do you say each of these teams shine?
I would say the anti-nades and the follow-up. So we saw that there were a couple of really big anti-nades coming out from both of the teams, but when no commitments land, I think it was a five-person anti-nade in that beginning posturing where they're just jockeying for position at the Hanamura gate. They don't move in. They're very much unsure. They kind of rustle around a bit, don't want to commit. On the other side, alter ego, when they see an anti-nade, it's like this green light. It's this go sign for this team, and they just wham, speed boost straight into the action and start just trying to chip away at all of those HP bars that can't be boosted back up by the support lineup. So I would say it's a big difference, definitely a game changer, but it's something that can be so fickle because defense matrix is in the game, and defense matrix can take away all of the impact of anti-nades.
Defense Matrix can take the impact out of a lot of things, and well, I have to say, as well as both Sensitic and Ironador have been playing, have we actually seen any Eaton ultimates yet? Specifically, the Blizzard?
I believe Anador managed to connect two.
All right.
But Sensitix on the other side has been doing a very good job of keeping Korn and the supports alive. So divas have different benefits to their names.
That's right, and another thing has a benefit is Alex going down in the early here on the high ground as JPK finds his head early and more or less easily. Skytor trying to charge in there to Korn, but Korn had the better angle, and that is a mistake that is, you know, well, rewarded by instant death. So the first cap going into no commitment right there, and it looks like they are finally committing.
And that's the difference that we see from Sensitix and Anador. Yes, Anador can come up very clutch in those moments where you need the Blizzard denied. Sensitix comes up very clutch in the moments where he needs the mech and is able to keep his main tank and the rest of his team alive as a result. You can actually see him boosting up to that high ground, trying to take a peek at where Alter Ego are going to be coming from, and then immediately boosting back to the team to peel for his tanks.
That is right, and the defense matrix is already out. Skytor looked a bit uncomfortable right there, being frozen. Alex going down yet again, so Korn is able to take the biggest DPS out of the equation, and that means no commitment are in, a bit of an advantage right there. Now, both of the nanos are going down. First shatter on the side of Skytor, doesn't find a lot of targets. Korn was able to actually block that out, and he is jumping down there in order to get Skytor off his point. Einador gets Eli, but Korn is able to get Makarov as well. That means 50% still on the ticker, and no commitment actually looking good this time.
Yeah, Alter Ego are going to struggle so much to get through these corridors because they are just packed up in them. You can't really come out as a full force. You have to trickle in, and when you're walking into 6 people, well, you don't want to be going in with halves of anything. They do have a Blizzard to work around, and Makarov has the sign bar, so they may just pop it before they actually go into the fight to try to give themselves a little bit of extra survival.
High noon coming out of JPK, trying to find some targets, draws it out, doesn't find them, but is at least able to split that team for a second. But he goes down to Skytor, who now had enough and is trying to just get some value into that. Skytor very low, being frozen. The Diva Bomb didn't find any targets earlier in there, but was able to at least hold that very aggressive approach that Alter Ego suddenly showed. The counter Diva Bomb does not make an equalizer, so Einador back in the mech and is trying to make something else happen. Korn takes him on a bit of a ride all the way in the back as JPK takes a Legend and Makarov down, closes it out on Skytor. Objective secured, and that was a clean 0 to 100 here.
Yeah, they just weren't able to get out of those strokes without being able to actually properly approach the point. You see that no commitments really do understand the layout of mecha base. You can just hem people up, not allow them to even get anywhere near that point, even try to get that proper equal advantage fight going where you have that positioning of the map where it's open spaces. No, you can just lock them up. It's like traffic jams, Ollie. If you can't move, you can't do anything, you can just honk your horn angrily and watch as the time burns away.
Or do what I do whenever I'm in a traffic jam, stuff your face and hope for better time. So, we need a Les Bleus to aller already. They are 0-1 down, and they know it. So, come on, Alter Ego. Show us that fighting spirit that you have regaled us with over the last couple of maps, because no commitment are coming for you fast as we head in to the second point here on Busan.
We're heading into a mirror matchup as well. The only thing that's different is the support lineup. Brigitte versus Lucio going to have a little bit of an advantage trying to negate EMP on the side of that one.
We will see whether or not they can get it in time, though. Both Legends and Eli are trying to farm it up as quickly as possible because we have seen what either of these Sombras can do once they are able to shut it down. Now, though, good fight. Once again, no commitment in point control. They seem to be a lot better at these brawly situations, at least for a lot of those situations. Right there, JPK and Hampy going down, though. So now it is time for AlterEgo to press it down. Korn is able to get Einador out of the mech and out of the life right now. And Katakomi is absolutely... Wow! I don't know if you saw that, but Katakomi went around the back of the pillar, got hacked, launched himself off, and fell off the edge of the cliff because he could not stop himself at that point. Beautifully done. Beautiful hack here on the side of Legend. I needed to highlight that for a second.
Well, that is perfectly fine because Katakomi has actually swapped onto the Brigitte, so it will now be two of the Shield Maidens out looking for Tracer heads to just bash straight in.
For a game that is so laden with a lot of things, we see a lot of things going very, very right. Senso takes, gets Alex with the Diva Bomb. Now to counter Diva Bomb coming in there, and Skytor is able to just jump in there right after that Diva Bomb, trying to make some space for the team. Allez Bleu. We see that AlterEgo are not done yet. They are holding on to that point after retaking it, and now it's up to No Commitment to set it up. Ladies and gentlemen, give some copy pasta, because now we are going into the hot phase of this final map. We are going all the way.
Well, it looks like AlterEgo will be able to control this next fight with the EMP. Comes out, catches full.
Oh, that is one big EMP. Alex on the other side, though, finds Katakomi in the back line and is able to make that deal a sealed opinion. JPK going down to Alex as well. So Alex going there and showing you what a dominant Tracer can do. Beautifully played, 82% on the clock.
Yeah, no commitments. They are going to be running out of time. Ilya is trying to build up to this EMP, but I don't think they'll be able to have it for the next push. They need to come in and contest this point now.
They do, and they seem to be knowing that. No Commitment jumping in there, especially Korn, who has been nano boosted, was hacked for a second, and now has the time to pop the ultimate. But they're not near the point in time, and that means we're going into the final round of the final map, and this is a clutcher and a half. Hold on to your hats, sit at the edge of your seat, because we are going into the decider.
Yep, it is temple / shrine / sanctum / sanctuary. We are going to be headed off to this wonderful, beautiful map that is probably one of the best looking Overwatch designs that I've seen, at least until some of the bullets start flying. Then it looks a little bit less pretty, a little bit less picturesque, and much more bloody. It's going to be very interesting to see whether or not the teams stick with the Sombra Brigitte that they've been favoring for the past couple points of percent, because that drum can be such a pain to pull an EMP off. Gives all of that natural cover to a team that wants something to hide behind.
The only blood I see right now is the blood pumping through my veins all the way into my eyeballs as we are going into this. We already see for No Commitment going very, very deep, just like they did on the last map. But maybe this time they are able to actually get that advantage pressed all the way to the other side. We see AlterEgo still very close to their spawn, waiting it out for a little bit of a second, and there we go. It is a cap on No Commitment side, and AlterEgo moving in on the right side straight away. Korn looking for some targets, swinging that hammer, getting the fire strike in, and that is very good for his chargement of that shatter. Sensatex and Katakomi closing the deal straight away, and now this could actually be interesting. 25% on the clock. AlterEgo need to make it happen. Come on, Frenchies.
So AlterEgo, they went back to the spawn after that first fight. They saw that they were running up against a dive, and so they came onto the Reinhardt, the Mei as well, not going to be on the Sombra, which meant that they've reset their ultimate charges, which means that they're not going to have what is available currently for No Commitment. Eli is going to get that Blizzard Online so much faster than Legend and just immediately swing this team in their favor.
That could be so. Now halfway there, no commitment, can actually smell victory from there. But Skytor may need to make sure that that doesn't happen. Katagami with the side takes Skytor out of the equation. Krypton immediately following after a nice attack from Korn. And now they have all the elements. They have all the weapons to just hold them near their spawn for a long, long time.
Yeah, and Iron Door, you do not want to see it. Had to swap to a different hero to get that Diva mech back. So it's gonna be AlterEgo. Not gonna have that bomb online. Gonna have to be worrying about this defense matrix needs to come up in the absolute final hour because it is getting towards that final fight territory. If the Blizzard comes through, it's curtains for this team.
That's right, High Noon coming in from the side. JPK was trying to get boosted up, jumps past the wall, and that is huge. Actually, Krypton and Einador are able to get something out of that, but to no avail. It looks as if AlterEgo are in trouble, and it means that Crypto cannot hold back to that. There's a sound barrier coming out there on the side of Makarov. He holds on to that as long as they can. Korn is taking Krypton as he is hammering it away. This time, not with the Reinhardt, but with the Hammond. The overtime wake already running. 1 versus 2. The overtime wake now going down. Alex trying to touch it, actually able to extend that. Now the Diva Bomb comes out, is getting blocked. Crypto with a hammer shatter and doesn't find a lot of targets. The overtime wing coming down, and that was it. No commitment. Commit to the fight. Take it all the way. And that was one hell of a series, ladies and gentlemen, that ended in one clutching Busan map.
And one play of the game for JPK, who is going to be pretty happy with that one, I'm pretty sure. Clicks a lot of the heads, takes advantage of the fact that the Reinhardt was a little bit stunned up, and just takes the rest of the team to town.
Oh, what the hell was that? I mean, open division playoffs are crazy. We know that. That has been a thing for years. But this kind of crazy, this close, both of these teams really wanting that real win, really wanting that glory, wanting that shot to get back into the winners bracket and stick it to the man. And one of them stuck and the other one got stuck. AlterEgo, we salute you, but it's bye-bye back to La France, while the commitment are committing for more. Beautifully done. So let's look at what we have seen here in that last setup. What was the difference? What was that?
So AlterEgo unfortunately misread the situation. When you have those really nail-biting composition maps, you have to come out of spawn with something that you are going to be sticking with, or at least give it a couple of shots until you've built up ultimates. When they swap off the Winston, off the Sombra onto the Mei and the Reinhardt, they have already given no commitments such a huge leg up, because it means that no commitments are going to have those ultimates coming online before AlterEgo have anything within the realm of even being able to deal with them, which means that they stagger themselves out over fights. And unfortunately, they're just not able to build those key ultimates up in time. No commitments. They don't have any sort of the problem. They've got the Blizzard, they've got the Shadow, they've got the Bomb. They can put all of them in at their own leisure, knowing that they're not under that time pressure, knowing that they don't have to worry about working around a sound barrier or a counter shatter.
Yes, that's a very good point there. I have to say though, Skytor, the main tank of AlterEgo, I've been drumming his drum for the last 2 maps at least. I know that. He had some great plays here as well, but he did fall a bit short compared to what we saw. Is that a fatigue issue, not only on his side, but on the entirety of AlterEgo, or was that really just a tactical error for 2 maps straight?
I mean, you're never gonna really know with these things. Fatigue can definitely be a contributor, but sometimes after just playing map after map after map and being in those very small situations, because I would say this meta is the most similar to goats that we've had in a very long time, in that the smallest of these mistakes just have this massive big domino effect that knocks onto the entirety of the map's conclusion. And so
Yeah.
Reinhardt accidentally not holding his shield up at the right amount of time, well, that can cause an entire team to be hit by an anti-nade, which then means that then it's not wanting to move in, which means that the time just starts ticking and ticking and slipping away further and further and further. So I don't think we can say that it was really fatigue or one of those issues. It was just a fact that no commitments just were better off in that map because their picks, they were able to stick with them. They didn't get pressured down. They didn't have to feel like they needed to build Shatter up extremely quickly, which I'm sure Skytor felt the need to put those fire strikes in, felt the need to drop the shield more to do a little bit more damage, goes a little bit too aggressively at that point, and unfortunately, no commitments, they capitalize on it.
No commitment, absolutely capitalized on whatever they could possibly capitalize on. We have to just do a little bit of a household message or a couple of household messages. Of course, we are continuing our broadcasting in a couple of minutes with the last map. But before we do, let's talk a bit more about the ladies and gentlemen who are bringing gamers and gaming together wherever they are, especially if they're in a bad situation. Gamers Outreach is our charity. We are not only doing this to support tier three, even though we do hashtag support tier three, but also to get these people a little bit of money in there. So click the button below the screen, give as well as you can, and make an offering for your favorite team, of course, because it is a very very good cause. Right now, though, I don't know if you are planned for any more. I am not at this point. So I can only say if you want more shouting, if you want more puns, if you want more fun with the two of us, we will be casting somewhere in the future. Every now and again together. I'm pretty sure. I'm the Olimancer. You can find me at the Olimancer. That is Got Moxie. You can find her on the Got Moxie and say goodbye, Got Moxie.
Bye bye.